I'll never forget, we were following up with a good friend of mine, and he had just, gotten into this relationship, rather he had met this girl, and, she had given him, the number, so they had chatted once or twice. Then a week later, he came and he was looking down, so we asked him, what's going on? I'm all right, just maisha, just life. Life is happening. And anyway, so we probed a little bit deeper. What's going on? What's going on? You're usually a bubbly person. So eventually, said, imagine I've been friend-zoned. It's a stage that we don't like being in. And the truth is, the foundation of any relationship is friendship. And today, that's what we're going to talk about. The truth is that friendship has been corrupted in our day and age. And we find that when you become a friend, it's like we are looking for more. We've become so one-dimensional that we're desiring just the end result. We're not looking forward to the process of what this means, being a friend with somebody. And we find that we are hoping, when you become a friend, it's like you're wondering, is it going to end up in, sex? Is it going to end up in marriage? Is it going to end up in any other form of, long-term commitment? And we've become so one-dimensional about it, where we're known or where we relate by, where we're known or relate by, where we are at in life or the phase that we are at in life. And it is assumed that if you're lonely, then the solution is a nice, warm, cuddly, fuzzy, romantic, love relationship with a significant somebody. And that romantic love and sex that is supposed to go with it should cure loneliness. This is not true. This actually leaves people, longing for marriage, and we enter into marriage for all the wrong reasons. And what is the most tragic is that sometimes we enter marriage and find that we are still lonely. This is because we have not done what it takes or gone through the process that we need to go through in order to be that person that last week we mentioned, be the best you that God has called you to be. So then I ask, how is it that we struggle to form meaningful relationships with other people? How come it is so hard to find, strong, lasting relationships? Relationships that, make sense, relationships that are enriching, and relationships that are fulfilling. And allow me to suggest a couple of things. In our culture today, we have over-sexualized relationships. We have over-sexualized relationships. We live in a culture that has basically reduced cross-sexual relationships into a game of let's wait and see how long it'll take for me to sleep with you. In fact, we have gotten to the stage where you cannot say that you and I are in a relationship unless we have slept with each other. Now, this is something that is happening in every area of our lives. Workplace relationships and workplace affairs are on the rise. Friends that we meet outside, we are thinking of, how can you hook me up? It's all about the hookup, the hookup, the hookup. The second thing is mobile technology. Social media continues to give an illusion of friendships. We have this feeling that we can get friends when guys friend request us on Facebook. And we feel like we're connected with them. We have so many followers on Twitter. And in fact, you get excited the more you get. On Instagram, which is like the biggest craze, we have so many people that are following us, and we follow so many people, and we feel like we're connected to them just because they liked, just because they commented, just because they sent that emoji or that GIF. And we find that social media has begun to imitate the language of our social relationships. the emojis. I mean, you can have an entire sentence based on emojis. You can express yourself by putting that GIF, and everybody will understand what it is that you are saying. Mobile technology has given us a false sense of our friendship, of who we are. And to show how, fake these relationships are. The other day I got a friend request, and the first thing I typically do when I, get a friend request on Facebook is I look at, first of all, the photo. Do I know you? Second, I look at the mutual friends. Do we have mutual friends? Then the third thing is I ask the mutual friends, hey, so-and-so friend requested me. Who is he or who is she? And then majority of the time, the answer will be, oh, it's just someone who comes to church, or it's just someone we met at whatever, or it's just someone we see in public, it's just someone we see in society. So the mutual friend doesn't even know who this person is. It's just somebody who appears, in your circle of influence. But once the friend requested you, you feel like you have a friend. Yet you don't know them. Yet they don't know you. Yet you don't know, or you don't have an interaction other than the like, the comment, the emoji, the GIF, or every once in a while, the DM that they send you. Another thing that we struggle with is our identity issues. The thing that, that has the most impact on our friendships is how we view ourselves. Most of us are really defined by what we do or the phase in life that we're in. I am a doctor. I am an architect. I am a builder, contractor. I'm an engineer. I am a pastor. I am so-and-so's girlfriend. I am so-and-so's boyfriend. This is who we're defined by. And because this is the place that we're defined, these are the people that we hang around. And these are the people that, constitute of the influence that we will have on them or they will have on us. When I think about myself as a pastor, the only, or rather not the only, but majority of the communication I have is with congregants or people with church or my staff, the staff members. And most of that is based around God or Jesus or prayer and all that is fantastic. But the truth is, that's not all who I am. How many of you know I'm a Liverpool fan? All of you celebrated. I promise you this week you'll have a blessing. But how many of you know I enjoy sports? I talk sports. I can name statistics from, I don't even know, an era that was not mine. I can even tell you this is the projection. How many of you know that I enjoy outdoors activities? I enjoy going camping. I enjoy whitewater rafting. I enjoy rock rappelling. These are things that bring, joy to me. Well, now you know, and when you go for those things, please invite me. I enjoy hiking. I enjoy the outdoors. I may not enjoy a good book, but I enjoy a movie made of, based on that book. Just face it, it's easier and faster to, get the story. But basically what I'm trying to tell you is there are so many things that constitute who I am that we are missing out. There are so many things that constitute who you are, but you are limiting yourself and just basing yourself because I am this. This is all I do. This is who I will hang out with because they will help me in this. And we have become very one-dimensional. The truth is that we have been created to be multifaceted human beings. We have different passions and different things that give us joy. And we need to engage in this side of our life. In fact, there was one such person in the Bible who was limited by the way he thought. They were limited by, his status in life, limited by even his physical appearance. Turn with me to Luke 19 from verse 1 to 10. Or click with me to Luke chapter 19 from verse 1 to 10. And I read, Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was short and could not see over the crowd, so he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him. Since Jesus was coming that way, when Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to mutter. He has gone to be the guest of a sinner. But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have ever cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. Jesus said to him, Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. Zacchaeus' interaction with Jesus in this passage was guided by his limitations. One, he was a tax collector. Now, we all, for those of you who were part of our last month's sermon series, we learned about how tax collectors were viewed in society. They were like the sinners of society. They were like the frowned upon people in society. And Zacchaeus, knowing this, felt like, you know what, I can't be next to this guy. It made matters worse. His physical stature, he was a short man. He could not see above the crowd. And when he was in the crowd, he got lost in the crowd. So there's no way he could come near Christ. So already there are 2 things that were going against him. So he saw himself in this light and he said, you know what, I can't be there. So he just ran ahead and went on a tree. I will just see him passing. That will make me happy. What can we learn from Jesus' teaching about friendship? What clues can we discover from his word about meaningful relationship? How do you build a healthy circle of friends and relationships that add value to you and the people who are around you? Jesus, through his sermons, through the way he carried himself in society, was able to teach us these things and to walk that particular path. In fact, in John chapter 15, as he is addressing his disciples, he says something very profound. And he says, my command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you might go and bear fruit that will last. And so whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. This is my command. Love each other. Jesus is teaching us here that our relationships, our connecting with each other, our friendship, anything that we desire when we are connecting with our community, with our family, whoever it is, or if it's a boyfriend and a girlfriend that you desire to be, it has to be based on a friendship-first approach. One that is genuine, one that is life-giving, one that is fun, one that is, produces memorable experiences. In this passage, he says, we need to know each other's stories. He says that You are my friend because I have poured out my story to you. Here he's saying that we need to stop seeking, or we need to stop seeking to be friends for the benefits that we can get out of it. We need to stop seeking friendship and make friendship free of covert, sexual, romantic, financial, spiritual, and even educational expectations. This can definitely still happen, and in the context of friendship-first relationships. There are three things that I want to discuss today that we can do, a posture that we can adopt, as a community, that will help us and assist us in becoming this friendship-first kind of, or having this friendship-first kind of relationships. Number one is embrace people's uniqueness. Your story matters. Zacchaeus' background, his life, his struggles, even his height mattered. Jesus looked beyond all these things. Jesus looked beyond who he was. Jesus looked beyond what he was doing. Jesus looked beyond his physical stature. And he was welcoming to Zacchaeus. In verse 12 of John chapter 15, he said, my command is this: love each other as I have loved you. We need to adopt this and be intentional and pursue love with each other. And it should not, and it should be, and it should not be, one-dimensional. But we should also consider, whether it's great successes, whether it's failures, whether it's academic, whether somebody's an academic scholar or a businessman or entrepreneur or an artist or a sports person. They could have come from a wealthy upbringing or a poor background. They could have had a checkered past. Whoever they are, whatever their life is, we need to embrace it. We need to be accepting of people. We need to stop saying that I will only hang around the people who are in our church. I will only hang around the people who, are passionate about the same things that I'm passionate about. Christ went out of the way. As you can see in that scripture, they mattered when he invites himself to Zacchaeus' house, that this guy is going to hang out with a sinner. Christ was intentional about pursuing love. And that's why he tells us, this is my command, that you love each other as I have loved you. Whatever their life story, embrace it. It's God's fingerprint on them that makes them unique. The second thing is, be authentic. Be real with each other. Share openly. It means by your words and actions, you create space in your friendship where it is okay to be vulnerable and to share your life with others. Choosing to be vulnerable does something for you. When I'm vulnerable and I tell you something about me, it opens a certain aspect to me that you begin to connect with me. I remember one time back when I was preaching, and I shared about the part of my life where I was homeless. It was a very hard thing to do, to tell you that I was homeless. It's actually a shaming thing. But you know what that did? It opened my life to you, and it opened other people to come into my space. Because then they could identify with some of the things that I was going through. And in doing so, I have gained new friends as a result. In verse 15, Jesus says, I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. Christ here shows that his openness, and that, and tells them that because you are privy to the things in my life, because you are privy to my story, because you're privy to the things that I desire to see achieved. You are no longer a servant, but now you have become a friend. And in our day and age, you can change the situations from being acquaintances to becoming friends with each other. Number 3, make it fruitful. Most people look out for relationships for what they can get out of them. It's an unfortunate thing that this is actually our culture. Our culture as Kenyans. We engage with people because of the benefit we can get out of them. Think about the many calls that you get. I think of the calls that I get. Somebody will call me. Hello? Hi. Hey, what's up? How are you doing? You well? Yes. You well? Yes. Now, and by your laughter, I can tell you, I really identify with that. This is who we have become. Our friendships are based on what we can get out of you. And what's the sad thing is that those friendships don't last. Those friendships don't grow. Because once that well has run dry, then you have no reason to go to that person. You have no reason to talk to that person. Because you are privy to the things in his life, or the privy to the things, or because they were privy to the things in his life, his story, the things that he cared about, they turned from being just servants, followers, disciples, and they became friends. And these are the kind of relationships that we all need to pursue. We need to engage with people because they are people. Because they have a story. Because you have a story to share with them. Not because you can get something out of who they are or what they can give you or the benefit that they will give you. Number 3, he says, make it fruitful. Verse 16. He says, you did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit. Fruit that will last. And so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. I love what Christ is saying here. He says that it is not for my benefit that I've invited you into my life. He's saying that I have invited you into my life because I have something to pour out to you. I have something to give you. I have something to enrich you. He's saying that I have been blessed and I'm going to be a blessing to you. My command I give to you, love one another as I have loved you. Think about your relationships. Are you pouring out into the people around you? Are you giving into the people around you? You've been blessed with so much. Are you becoming a blessing to others? Our friendships and our relationships are so that those around us and we too can bear fruit. Here are a few ways that we can bear fruit or be fruitful in our relationships and our friendships. Number 1 is to have fruitful time. Spending time with your friends intentionally. Being a blessing. What are you doing with your friends? Are you spending time? Are you making time for them? Yesterday, something interesting happened. We came from Ndoa. We've been doing Ndoa, which is an experience that, enriches marriages, or for those who are desiring to get into marriage and, just learn what God says about marriage. And so my wife and I were leading a class, and we were done. And, to be honest, it was a long, long class. We were there from 8 in the morning. We didn't leave until about 1 p.m. So I was ready to go home and rest. But, because I'm a parent too, I had to go and pick my son. My son was all the way in Karen. So as we are driving, home is on the way to Karen. And as we get closer to home, I say, okay, babe, I'm going to drop you. I'm going to drop you off so that you can chill. After all, it's a hot day. We all hate hot days. And listen to what she said. She said, no, I'm enjoying to spend time with you. Let's go. I'll just go with you and we can talk, keep talking. That's the part you say, oh. But let me tell you, that did something for me that, I had missed out, and I didn't realize I needed that fellowship. I thought I was being a gentleman by telling her, you know what, you go home, rest. It's been a long week, a tough week. Just go and rest. But what was most important for her was spending time with me. And I really enjoyed the conversation we had between that point and getting our son. And even the conversation we had with our son on the way back. It was an amazing time of us bonding with each other. What are you doing to spend time with your friends so that you can learn more about them? So that you can pour out yourself to them? So that you have the opportunity to be authentic with them? Some of the suggestions I can make is you can go on road trips with each other. You can go for prayer meetings. That's because I'm a pastor, so I had to put that in there. You can take a course, with each other. You can go and hang out in Karura Forest, walk, bike, do a picnic. Arboretum is right here down the road. There's so much you can do with each other, so that it affords you the time to spend time with each other and to connect with each other. Number 2 is fruitful conversations. In a world where noise is at an all-time high, listening is a rare gift. Now, the next thing I want to say is very hard for me to say, so please listen to it carefully. We all need to learn and to have the discipline of logging off from our social media and from these gadgets that we have become addicted to. This is one of the biggest quarrels in my marriage. Babe, I'm talking to you, but all you are doing is you're on your phone. Yeah, I'm just sending this email. I'm just responding to this. I am just doing this. And there's always something to do. Busy on Facebook, busy on Twitter, busy on Instagram. And when we're not busy on this, we are busy watching that series that we love. And guess what is being compromised? Our conversations with each other. What is being compromised is our ability to even listen to each other. What's going on in your life? Pastor Kevin, what's going on in your life? Do you realize if you give somebody 100% attention, there's so much you will learn from what they're going through. There's so much you will learn and gain even from, from their lives. But we don't have time to listen because our lives are just so caught up in, the noise that is happening in the world. What conversations are you having? And you can be intentional about taking time away from the noise around you and choose to listen to each other. My relationship is better because my wife said, I just want to spend time with you. It was just a 20-minute ride there and a 20-minute ride back. But it made a world of difference. I learned even how her week was, the things that she went through. She learned how my week was. The third thing is fruitful exchanges. Gifts, that is. Recognize where you can help a friend with resources that you have available. I get many prayer requests from members of the community. And the truth is, sometimes we might all seem like we have it going on. But the truth is that there are some people here who are struggling. Last year was a tough year. Some people lost jobs. Businesses went down. And the truth is that if we as a people took time to have a conversation and to listen to each other, then this third thing would be very easy. We would be able to become a blessing to them. Something that sets apart great friends is the ability to spot or sense a need without waiting to be overtly asked. I remember a friend who used to be invited for, you know how we have plots, we kept inviting him and the guy used to give so many excuses, and we're like, funny, this guy has found other friends or what? And eventually, after poking and prodding and, just getting all up in his face, we learned that this guy had actually lost his job 3 months ago. Not only had he lost his job, but because he didn't have any income, he lost his nice place where he was staying. We found out that he has actually even moved to an SQ. But because of the pressure we put on him, and we didn't take time to hang out with him, we didn't take time to have conversations and to listen to him, we did not understand this. And in fact, we looked down upon him. Party pooper, party pooper. You don't want to hang out with the boys anymore. Even as we talk about relationships this month, we've addressed the stage of being single, and we're continuing to build up on it. The truth is that in marriage, if in singlehood you did not become the best that you can, or the best that God has called you to be, and if you did not develop your friendships like we are asking you to right now, you will struggle in your marriage. Last week I talked about, I learned that I was the most selfish person. I thought I was generous, but I was a selfish person the moment I entered into marriage. It was about, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? Through these scriptures, it is my prayer that, like Jesus did for Zacchaeus, that you will choose to embrace each other's uniqueness. That is the fingerprint of God in their lives. And that's what makes them unique. And that you will choose to be authentic with each other, becoming vulnerable and sharing. Not as soon as I pronounce the benediction, you have made a beeline for your car. Hint, hint. And it is my prayer, like Christ, you will make your relationships fruitful relationships. Make time for each other. Have conversations with each other. And don't just be the one who dominates the conversation. Be one who listens in that conversation. These are some foundational things that even as we progress with this sermon series, that is setting us up for where we eventually, or for some of us we'll choose to remain single, but for those who desire marriage, these are things that we can do that will help us in that stage.